And Tanisha was awesome. She's such a motivational speaker with a clear vision of what she wants to happen in New York City, and I love being a part of that. And I'm excited for the future of education in the city. Okay, so I want to talk about computational thinking before we get started. There's another session now on computational thinking, but it is really fascinating to me how important computational thinking is in teaching computer science, robotics, and all the things that we teach and all the things we're here to talk about. So computational thinking is strengthening computational thinking mindsets. It helps when we do that, especially with our young children. So our pre-K through third graders, it really helps when we boost their computational thinking skills because later in life, they're more able to handle complex problems that can't be solved by trial and error methods. And I think that's a really important comment from the researchers who put together this research, Kathleen Campagna. They're so often in computer science and in so much of what we teach, our students are doing trial and error. And it is a problem-solving method that we teach, and it is valuable sometimes, but as a problem solver, it's not always the best strategy. It's not always the easiest strategy to go to. So if we teach our kids computational thinking and we set their mind to be computational thinkers, they are more likely to pull from a wide array of resources to teach, to solve problems with. So we know computational thinking as decomposition, algorithmic thinking, pattern recognition. As we teach our students all of those things, they have a wide resource bank to choose from in the future. So when we teach computational thinking, our students will be better positioned to function in a world of ubiquitous and constantly evolving digital technology and new media. I have a friend who teaches in Western New York, and she is a big advocate that her students in her school need to be multidimensional in their use of technology. So in some classes, students are using G Suites and all the G Suite applications, and in other classes, they're using Microsoft and all the Microsoft applications. And she thinks this helps them become adept at dealing with complex situations across platforms. And I think that's really powerful because we don't know what type of work environment kids are going to go into after they graduate, what they're going to be using. So having them have the flexibility on multiple tools is important. Same is true with robots. Our robots come in all different shapes and sizes, and we need to be able to give our students lots of opportunity to use those computational thinking skills across different platforms. So today we're going to talk about 3 of my absolute favorite robots that exist on the market, and talk about how we can incorporate them in classes. So while we're moving on, I'd love to hear in the chat your thoughts about computational thinking and multi-dimensional platforms. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Tell me in the chat, what are your thoughts on multi-dimensional platform teaching in schools and computational thinking? Yeah. I have a very good wait time. So I'll just wait for your responses. Yeah. Thanks, Lynette. I like that response. Keep the kids nimble. Let them use that brain power of theirs. Yep. Awesome. Okay, so one of my first favorite robots is Botley, the coding robot. I have Botley right here. Botley got upset with me because I left Botley on, and Botley doesn't like not getting attention. So Botley is a very simple robot that our earliest learners can use. So our pre-readers are really geared up for Botley and using Botley in their learning. It's incredibly affordable. I still cannot get over how affordable Botley is. It's really computational thinking focused. Yeah. It's a button-based coding sequence. So we use this little programmable controller and we code Botley using the arrows on the controller. It's so easy to use. There are unlimited uses for this. There's a whole repertoire of lessons that are all free and accessible online. You can go find them now. You don't even need Botley to find them. And I just think Botley. I knew he was going to do that. Botley said, yoo-hoo, because he doesn't like being ignored. So we have to code Botley. Yeah, the price point on Botley is great. So you get all of this stuff for like $50, $60, something like that. Yeah. So what I would challenge you to do if we were in person and we had Botley, I would ask you to collect some data after compiling algorithms and describe how to control Botley using the controller. So the challenge I'm going to show you is a science challenge, really. I think it would be great in a science class. Botley pushes the balls past the cone. So it's a little bit of like friction, forces in motion. He just whistled at me. Doesn't like being left alone. So this lesson is forces in motion, friction. And there's also some math of tallying. So our littles love to tally. So this is a great activity for that. When we think about our New York State computer science standards, it includes data visualization and analysis, so identifying different data that can be collected from everyday life, and networking and the internet, identifying how protocols and rules help share information over long distances. So if I'm sending information from my controller to my Botley over a long distance, where we're working on that internet and networking. So here's the challenge I would give you. It's blocking the top of my screen. But this is Botley from a top view. So I was doing a little art here. So a bird's eye view of Botley. We put Botley on a start line. 23 inches away, we put a ball. And then 27 inches away from Botley, we put a cone. And what we do is we code Botley to go forward to hit the ball and try to make it pass the cone. And we tally how many times we can do that. We use 3 different balls, 3 different size balls, weight balls, types of balls. Botley comes with these like hexagonal soccer balls, basically. So there's a flat edge. Can use that. You can use a tennis ball, a golf ball, a lacrosse ball, a pom-pom. We did it with pom-poms in the last training I did. And what students do is they send Botley forward to hit the ball rolls forward, and we see if it made it past the cone. They get three pushes to pass the cone, and they say, yes, object 1, the red ball, made it past the cone. Object 2, the yellow ball, did not make it past the cone. Object 3, the white ball did make it past the comb. And we do that 3 times, and then we make a tally graph of how many times it got past, the balls got past the comb. Now, as fantastic teachers, how many different topics and subjects are involved in here? What core subjects are we teaching students? What other standards are we teaching students? Some of them I mentioned already. Yeah, we're teaching math, counting to 3. We're teaching algorithms. We're teaching science with forces in motion. Yep, awesome. Fantastic. So such an easy setup to encourage all of those different subject areas in one. We're also talking about algorithm planning. How many forwards does it take to get the ball, to get to the ball, to push it? So I love that. This is an option for kids. Here is a video of this happening. This is an old version of Botley, which isn't available any longer. Also, this is a video that is so long. The man goes through every single detail of this activity. But here is what is happening.
All right, he's ready to go. Go ahead and delete. Okay, he's deleted. And we'll use that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. He's going to travel down and hit that orange ball. Did the orange ball go past the line? So that's what you're going to use these sheets for. So put this sheet right here, and we'll say, no, it didn't.
So very simple. I don't know if we need a 12-minute video about it, but the 12-minute video exists. And yeah, I mean, I could imagine kids being sucked into this activity for a couple hours. It's pretty easy to set up. It's easy to understand. The coding is super easy, but we're learning tons and tons of valuable content from this lesson. So I love this as an activity you can do in your class. I heard there were some other Botley folks in the audience. So tell me what lessons you do with Botley. What are some lessons you do with Botley or some activities you do? While they're typing, let me show you some other fun Botley videos.
Μπράβο.
Λέτε πέφτει πάνω σας.
So Botley has obstacle detection, so you can talk with your students about obstacle detection. Botley can make different sounds when it detects an obstacle, so you can also code that. Botley's lights can light up differently when it detects an obstacle, so you can code that as well. So this is another video about Botley going through a maze. These 2 videos on top, are from the School for the Blind and how they use Botley with their students. So thank you, Dana. Yes, Botley comes with challenge cards that are activities that can be done. There's so much that you can do. The old model and the new model work basically the same. I don't know of any differences.
That's what happens when your blood sugar crashes.
It's true.
You just go
No,
up
go
high.
on.
We don't need to hear them.
There you
That's
go.
a problem. Nice.
Oh, too far.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, we'll still get it.
Yay!
So the cups in this challenge, instantly my first reaction was like, that's going to be so loud in the classroom. But then my second reaction was, it actually is really helpful for students who have visual impairments because they can hear the cups moving and Botley hitting the cups. So I think it's a very interesting strategy for using this with students with different abilities. I think the purpose of this challenge was to get Botley through that opening at the end instead of missing it. But I'm not entirely sure. But great activity for those kids. Here's another activity where they explain. These are older students and they explain what they're doing, and it's cute. It's really cute what they've come up with.
So, Botley is on a mission to rescue the horse over here because he was stranded on the island. And so to do so, Botley has to navigate a bunch of stuff, including some alligators that are very hungry and a flood, a stream that's been flooded. So he has to get over, we have a water passage to get to the horse. And he has to do a bunch of turns. Did I miss him?
Wonderful. Great.
Is it on?
Front. No.
Around the first alligator.
Oh no, not an alligator.
Around the second alligator. Ah!
And go over the water.
Look at him with his teeter totter. Woo!
So, as teachers, what are you noticing in this video that you want to take back to your classroom?
So
What are you noticing you wanted to take back to your classroom? When I first saw this, these bumpers on the end of the table are like the most genius thing I've ever seen in all of my years of teaching, to stop stuff from falling off the table. What a genius idea. They're pool noodles. That's all they are. Pool noodles just sliced down one side and popped onto the edge of the table. I also love the simple machine. I've never seen Botley go over a teeter-totter like that, but of course that'll work. I love challenging kids to incorporate a simple machine into this challenge. I think it's another great way to bring in science. And the alligators, right? They got really creative with stuff that was around the room to represent the story they were telling. I love when we use robots to tell stories because they really bring to life things that were happening in kids' brains that we can then see. So I think this is such a great lesson and activity for kids and for Botley, and can be used in so many different ways. So, they're all going to play. Okay. Here we are. My next favorite robot is Marty. Marty is a walking, talking. Oh, Botley needs to take a nap. Marty is a walking, talking robot that does so many different things. Marty has a personality. We can change its expressions. We have stickers. Marty's eyebrows move so they can tell a story. We can name Marty. Marty can walk. Marty can talk. Marty can do all sorts of different things. So Marty comes with color cards. Does anyone have a Marty in their class? Marty comes with different colored cards. And we can slide these under Marty's feet so Marty can do all sorts of different things. Marty can also be coded in Scratch Junior, Scratch, Python, and ROS. We can connect Marty's brain to a Raspberry Pi and control it that way. You can buy Marty pre-assembled, or you can build your own kit. And there's a whole portal of lessons online for Marty that are accessible. One of my new favorite things about Marty is, so Marty has a new AI feature. I know everyone loves AI at the moment, but they've made it so Marty can input information, do a task, and report back information based on what Marty took in. So there's some great lessons on that online. Marty can also speak. So if you know Scratch, you can record your voice into Scratch, and typically the computer will play back what you said. Well, you can record your voice into the Marty version of Scratch, and Marty will say back what you said. So really like opening up the door to a world where English language learners can communicate, students can communicate how they're feeling. They give Marty a persona, they can tell a story, they can have a conversation, they can practice math skills. There's so much you can do once we know that this robot can speak. And I've really gotten pretty serious with Marty over the last year and engaging with lots of teachers who have Marty in their classroom. And they all say Marty is the most impactful piece of technology they've brought into their room. Kids tell the teachers, I'm coming to school so I can see Marty. So they're showing up to school just to play with Marty, which is amazing. They really develop like a friendship with Marty and an interest in working with Marty, supporting Marty, using Marty as a friend. I have been so impressed with what Marty does and can do and the relationships it builds for children. So that being said, a lesson that we've done recently is to demonstrate how inputs and outputs work on Marty using two different ways. So the standards that we're talking about here are just the hardware and software. So demonstrating how there are several ways a computer program can receive information and instructions and then can present results as an output. So the easiest way to do this with Marty is to slide a colored card under Marty's feet, and Marty will do whatever the colored card says. So like yellow cards are to walk backwards, green cards are to walk forward, red cards are to stop and dance. So if I slide a red card under Marty's feet, Marty will stop and dance. Hold on. Marty sometimes is tired and doesn't like me. So Marty will stop and dance. There we go. Marty's playing music too. We can walk backwards. We can walk forwards. So we're inputting the color of the card and we're outputting a result. So that's the easiest way to see that standard in action. I'm gonna stop Marty. Marty's going for a walk on my table. The next challenge is for Marty to shake hands. And I yesterday did a workforce development training with some teachers, and teaching kids how to shake hands is actually a really valuable skill that many of them don't know how to do. So I just thought this was such a great connection to career readiness for our students. So asking students, what does it take to shake a hand? Like, what do you have to do? And then practicing with an inanimate object like Marty is such a great way for kids who struggle with those social skills to have that happen in person. So you would head over to what looks like Scratch, and what really happens is we add on some Marty blocks and we drag and drop them into the editor like we do in Scratch, and Bluetooth it to Marty's brain, and Marty's doing the things that you want Marty to do. So thinking about the steps of what it takes to shake hands, planning out that algorithm, identifying how you're going to execute that in the robot format is really important. The next challenge is for Marty to move his eyebrows and shake hands at the same time. Because when you shake hands with someone, right, sometimes your eyebrows go up if you're happy. Sometimes you scowl at people if you're not happy with them, right? And you're shaking it like, it's a deal, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen very often, but it can. So how can you code Marty to have both things happen at the same time? I shake hands and my eyebrows go up at the same time, not at two different times. So it's about setting up events. And that's a really complicated skill in computer science. And using Marty makes it so much easier because it's such a easy thing to see for kids, where instead of it happening just on the screen, just on Scratch, how can we make it happen in real life? And they can get that immediate feedback from Marty. Oh, this Marty also has disco eyes. I'm like, what is that red dot in his eyes? Marty has disco eyes installed, so they light up in all sorts of different ways. So fun. So Marty is great. Marty has a free trial also. You can get Marty in your classroom for 2 weeks completely free. They'll send you a bunch of Martys. You can play with it. They guide you, make sure you're all set up, ready to go. And you explore Marty for 2 weeks and then send them back to Robotical. And then you can decide if you want to purchase them or not. I honestly think this is such a great feature that Robotical offers, because teachers, you could get it for family STEM night and just have them for that night so everyone can play with them that night, or just for a couple of weeks in a robotics unit, or if you just want to test them out and see how they work. Also, right before a holiday, right after a holiday, all those weird days, what a great time to get some Marty in your classroom for kids to have something else to do. I will drop the link for the Marty free trial in the chat in a moment, okay? All right. So here is Marty's handshake. It's a short video if it loads. Oh, okay. Just move off of my second screen. Yeah, so super fast Marty handshake. It is a great tool. 1 second, friends. Why did that happen? All right, never mind. We'll move on. Okay, so my OG favorite robot is Edison. Edison is a simple robot that teaches STEAM skills through multiple coding platforms. Edison is so affordable. We just quoted out an Edison for a whole school, and I was like, I cannot believe this school is getting that many robots for that low of a price point. A 10-pack of Edison is $300. Like, they are so affordable. They are super easy to use. They are durable. You can drop, kick, throw this robot. You can run a car over it and it'll still work, which is great for classrooms where things just seem to be falling off of desks all the time. They're flexible, they're versatile, connect to any device that has a headphone jack. So as long as there's a headphone jack or a headphone jack adapter on the device, it works because it is web-based, the programming platform. And they have a curriculum for every single coding language. You also can build off of Edison. So they come with Ed Create kits, which are like basically Lego-like pieces, which you can connect onto the Edison. You can connect onto the wheels. You can pull the wheels off and stick a rod in the wheel and make things spin, like standing up. You could have something spin. So many different things you can do with Edison. There are 3 major coding languages. One of them you see here is barcode scanning. So this is actually the 4th language, where you can get Edison to scan a barcode, and it does exactly what the barcode is designed for. You can also code Edison with a remote control, like a regular TV remote control, like the old school kind, and make Edison work that way. But the 3 coding languages are EdBlocks, which is like Scratch Junior, where it's a block-based programming, and kids can drag and drop the blocks onto the app, and then Edison will do what it's told to do. There is Ed Scratch, which is Scratch-like platform where kids can code in Scratch. There is EdPy, where kids can code in Python. And for each of those 3 languages, there is a whole curriculum of like 300 pages that, as a teacher, you can follow along word for word, or you can pick and choose lessons you want to do. Most teachers pick and choose lessons that they want to do because it is a lot. But it's also fantastic. So the challenge that I have for this program is to drive Edison through a maze to gather information from the environment. And in this challenge, we are designing a solution to a problem that utilizes embedded systems to automatically gather input from the environment. So again, we're doing that hardware, software standards for our upper grade students. I work really closely with a teacher here in New York City who is using Edison to teach Python as the base for his CS class in 11th grade. And they are deep into Edison. So they are using Edison for all sorts of different things, understanding how the sensors work, how the sensors lead to if-then statements, how that leads to loops, how that leads to if-then-else, how that's setting up events and variables. So they're really diving deep into what Edison can do, and really diving deep into how Python works. And this takes us back to our conversation about using different platforms. So what we notice kids do a lot with Edison is they translanguage between 2 languages. They will pull up Ed Scratch, which is on the left, and they will pull up EdPy, which is on the right, and they will build the same exact program in both platforms, having both languages on the screen. And I think this is such a fantastic way of thinking about how our kids learn computer science. I know for me, I'm a constant learner of Spanish, and it's helpful for me when I see something in Spanish and in English I can make the connection. Oh, that's the Spanish word. That go-between is really helpful and really important for our students. So I encourage students to use this as a way to understand how each language works, while gently encouraging them to stay working in the Python, to learn the Python, not to use the scratch as a crutch, but eventually your leg is going to heal and you're going to be off the crutch and you're just going to use Python. So these two programs on the screen are a little hard to see, but they are exactly the same program. They're drive forward, read a line, and then drive backwards and turn when you are on a white surface. So it's like bouncing borders, I think is the program. Yeah. So there's like a border, which is like a black circle, like a sumo wrestling ring, and the robot has to stay in the borders. So it does that by detecting the black line and bouncing back in. And yeah, this is a really great thing. Something else I was reading recently about computer science is that students who speak multiple languages, they are not necessarily coding and making sense of computer science in only one language. They are making sense of computer science in multiple languages, whatever languages they know in their brains. So if they speak Urdu and English, they might be making sense of computer science and coding in Urdu and English. They're using all of their linguistical skills to help them be successful coders. And I think that is a really fascinating concept that I find incredibly interesting and something we need to be mindful of and continue to encourage in our students. Questions? I'm going to show you some videos about Edison. So Edison has a new pen attachment with these pens, and you can put it on Edison, and you can code Edison to do all sorts of different things with the pen attachment. I personally love this for making shapes like you see here. And I love this one. This is their logo. I think that is so cute how they figured that out. But I have a teacher that I know that has whiteboard paper on their desks, on their tables, and they let kids build a maze with a dry erase marker and then let Edison run through the maze with the pen attachment. So kids can see where they made an error in their code and they need to go back and fix it. Also let kids like draw their names and do all sorts of different things with the Edison. A couple of years ago, I also had a high school advanced math class. I don't remember exactly what class, but they were graphing using Edison's pen attachment. So and it was before we had this pen attachment, they were 3D printing the attachment and attaching it to Edison and letting Edison graph complex linear equations and whatnot. So tons of value in adding this to your classroom. Last year, working with some students and some teachers, and first we'll start with this guy who literally sprung out of his seat and started controlling one Edison with the other Edison. I knew it was possible, but I just didn't. I've never seen it happen before. So he actually has two Edisons in his hand. One Edison is moving the robot on the floor forward. The other one is moving it backwards. So I think that is very fun and interesting and a unique way to manage Edison. The second picture here is just a picture, not a video. These two boys were those kids that you really like them as people, but they're a little bit of like a high school boy, where they're just a little annoying, if you know what I mean. Like they're sweet and they mean well, but they're like a little bit of the jokesters. They're just a little annoying. They're always distracted. They're always like causing a little bit of ruckus. So we had them on Edison one day working on these things, and they were just into it. The two of them just were like doing it. They were challenging themselves. They were fixing their mistakes. They were in Python. They were going back and forth. And the bell rings for the class period, and the one kid goes, "Oh, beep. I wasn't on my phone this whole class period." And I was like, whoa. That speaks volumes to how engaging robots can be for our students in classes. They really can suck kids in. And that was a really powerful experience for me, and a reminder that our kids like this stuff at any age, at any attitude level. They can really get into it. Yeah. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some other ways you've used robots in some core content areas or in any unique ways? Drop it in the chat and I will pull some links for you while you're doing that. So what are some specific examples of how you've used Edison, Marty, Botley, Sphero, Dot and Dash, any type of robot in your classes? I'd love to hear. Its students create a mystery game boards and they use the spheros to travel to different clues. How fun. So like the game Clue where they were trying to solve like a murder mystery. Hopefully it wasn't a murder mystery. Maybe it was. Who knows? It could be like a history mystery, right? Like it could also be like where's not murderers and robberies and hitting people over the head with candlesticks. Okay. It could be like a Where's Waldo too. Like find that famous figure in our complex world of images. Thanks, Vanessa, for sharing. I appreciate that. Lynette, we use Dash a lot to create mazes or tasks. We have them graph how many times it takes to complete the task. Ooh, thinking about our thinking. We have Ozobot go to the correct solution. Cool to set up like a number line. Yeah, I love that. What are some other things? What are some other ways you've seen robots used in classrooms? Only 3 people have seen robots used in their classrooms. I find that hard to believe. Not at a CS conference. if you don't have any ideas of how we've used or how we've seen robots in the past, what about some questions about using robots in the classroom? What questions do you have about using robots in the classroom? The Vex stuff is really good. I love the Vex. There's so much you can do with it. Yeah, Sphero can do a lot with art, right? Sphero also has the pen attachment or the marker attachment. You can also drop the Sphero and paint and have it draw. You can also do light drawing with the Sphero. If you ever see those images of like streaks of colored lights, I actually saw one on Instagram or something the other day where someone found a empty in-ground pool and they used some sort of light to make images of skeletons having a pool party. But like all the skeletons were in different colored light. Moral of the story is you could do that with Sphero too. What grade do you start using Sphero? Good question, Vanessa. Ooh, Sphero competition. I don't know about that. Sphero goes incognito. How fun. I've heard of the Sphero competition. I take that back. It is really cool. It's usually like based around sports. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Latoya. Yeah, Sphero indies are so cool. They're fast. They zoom around. They do so many different things. They really grab kids' attention and they work really well. Like there's not much that goes wrong with them, which I really like and I appreciate. They're also easy to charge. I agree with Dana also that Sphero bolts are good for second grade and up. I think with the Sphero bolts in particular and the little kids, it's important to find the right balance between showing them the joystick to drive on the app and letting them code it. I think in all grades, there's that fine balance between the two. So even with this, like showing them the barcode scanning or showing them Scratch blocks if you want them to be using Scratch. Yeah, I think that's tricky with all of them. So it's just something to be mindful of. How do you introduce, like, you know, if you introduce that there's a joystick, they're always going to default to the joystick. That's what they're going to want to use. And it's hard to get them off of the coding when they know that there's an easier way. Of course. Why would I take the hard way if I know that they're right over there in that tab, there's an easy way? So it's really about drawing their attention to the right space. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to drop in the chat a link to a free Marty trial. So just head to that website. There's probably a pop-up that asks for your information, but once you get past that, there's a link to get a free Marty trial, and you're going to fill out their form, schedule a time to chat with the people at Robotical who created Marty, and yeah, get some robots in your classroom and see how that goes. So I feel like I didn't introduce myself. I'm Liz. I'm the CEO of WhyMaker. I'm Liz Gallo. And at WhyMaker, we are a certified women-owned business. We're a vendor with New York City. We are on the BOCES bid list for all the products I showed you today. At WhyMaker, we're designing the future of education, and we're on a mission to train 1 million educators in the next 10 years. So thank you for being part of that mission. We provide professional development on all sorts of different things: design thinking, project-based learning, clean energy, science, computer science, STEM, and technology. We write STEM curriculums for governments and school companies, ed tech products, STEM and CS, robotics and technology, and clean energy utilities. We sell STEM products like Edison, Marty, 3Ducks, Strawbees, DataBot, 3D printers. So you can check out our website for all of the products that we sell. We also have some really awesome events coming up. So if I have any teachers up in the Adirondacks or up in the North Country, we'd love to invite you to join our upcoming Clean Energy Institute that is happening in a few weeks. Learn all about clean energy and New York State's clean energy goals, and get tons of free goodies. Get tons of free goodies at our Clean Energy Institute, get to be in a beautiful setting, get to connect with other clean energy educators. So applications are open. We're accepting teachers every day. It's not something you're going to want to miss out on. If you can get up to the North Country in a couple of weeks, we'd love that. Also, if you know any teachers in the North Country who would be interested, science teachers, CTE teachers, computer science teachers. We've had PE teachers join us, English teachers, special ed teachers, workforce development teachers. So check out our Clean Energy Institutes. They are pretty great, and they're only going to get better. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much. Make sure you grab all of those links in the chat. Find us at WhyMaker. We are super active on all our socials. And if you need anything, you're always welcome to send me an email. And keep being awesome, because you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here on a Thursday night. I hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend.